Okay, I'll make that to 31. So let's get the webinar started. So the topic today is 3 ways to get your clients ready for MTD. So that's Making Tax Digital. Like I said, my name is Alex Jennings-Temple, and I'm the digital specialist here at Iris, looking after cash flow, Snap, and Insight. And I'll be taking you through this today. So what we're going to have a look at is planning for MTD, so how to identify your clients and what we're suggesting and what the firms we're working with are suggesting they're doing to us. How to manage clients' needs and identify exactly how you're going to work with them and which systems you need in place to work with which clients, and the cash flow options that go along with that, the various packages that we've got to suit those various client needs. There's not too many slides I'm going to go through today because I really want to focus on showing you the system and actually how it would work from an end-to-end point of view, depending on which system you're using. So we're going to look a bit of product today, and then the call to action, which will be the feedback form at the end and how you can get someone to get in touch with you. So classifying your clients, obviously this is quite important to know exactly, the types of clients you've got within the firm, who's using what and what's required by you. Basically, what we're suggesting at the moment is, to prepare a list of, especially, all your back registered clients, those that are going to be in the first phase from Making Tax Digital next year, and identify which ones are ready and prepared for MTD. So those who are already using some kind of cloud system, because generally all of the cloud software that's out there at the moment, including cash flow, will just be upgraded when the time comes, and there'll be no additional sort of charges for that, just to include MTD, and we'll put that functionality in. But if they're using older, maybe legacy desktop solutions, then they will probably need to upgrade those to actually get the MTD functionality. So just put those into sort of, one bucket, should we say, just to identify exactly what they're using and if they need to upgrade or what you need to do with those clients. And then you've got the clients who are using Excel or just paper records, and these are where most of our firms are targeting, the VAT registered clients who are using Excel and paper, and to get them onto some kind of cloud bookkeeping solution to make it more efficient, should we say, and also to make it easier to report on Making Tax Digital. And then you've got the other group, which is the ones that you do all the bookkeeping for. What are you using for them? Are you using a cloud bookkeeping solution already? Then that's fine. If you're using Sage Desktop, or if you're using spreadsheets for those guys as well, and having a look at the software around, which can make this process a lot more efficient for you internally, to make sure you're not creating more work for yourselves, which a lot of our firms are saying, are we going to recharge it to the clients? Can we recharge it? What can we charge it for? Are we not going to recharge these extra services just because that they have to do it? Let's make ourselves as efficient as we possibly can be internally to make this this process a lot easier when it comes into place. So once you've identified your clients and you know exactly who's who, when you've had a look at the numbers of who you need and who you need to talk to, then it's just a case of categorizing them into 3 groups. And these are the 3 groups that we're suggesting. So the first group we've got are the clients who they might already be doing it, or could be willing to manage their own bookkeeping. So when it comes into place, they're at a point now where you might be doing the work, or they might be doing a bit of it, but they can actually take the full process themselves, and that they're quite sufficient, maybe tech savvy. Maybe some of the younger, more tech-savvy clients would fall into that group. Group 2, which are clients who are willing to manage some of the bookkeeping. Now, they're either willing, or maybe that's all you would want them to do, depending on the sort of information you generally get from them or their skill set. So those who might always just give you everything, and you have to process it, but they could do a little bit just to make your lives a bit easier. And then you've got those who fall into group 3, which clients who just don't want to be involved at all. You've always done the bookkeeping for them, and they don't particularly want to get involved whatsoever. and they will want you to manage the full bookkeeping service. So you'll need to do the full end-to-end everything. So once you've got an idea of the different types of clients you've got and the different groups you fall into, then you can get an idea of which clients you need to talk to first and sort of the process and systems that you'll need to get in place for MTD. So if we look at group 1 first, so these clients are those who are willing to manage their own bookkeeping. So we've got, obviously, there's a lot of benefits there. Now, clients might already have a solution. Like I said, if they're using any bookkeeping solution in the cloud, then that will be sufficient for MTD. Everyone's developing it, so it'll all be ready for that. If they are currently using paper records or Excel, then they won't be able to submit the required information. And what we're hearing now is there won't be like a gateway where they can go and key in the information themselves for HMRC. So therefore, they would be reliant on yourselves if they haven't got software in place. So for those sort of clients, the paper record clients and the Excel clients, you do always have the option to submit manually directly through Iris. But the majority of accountants and bookkeepers that we're talking to on a daily basis don't really want to have to do this. Okay? On a quarterly basis, for all of their VAT-registered clients, they seem as a headache. It's going to be a lot more work, and cash flow is our solution, and it's something that you can give to clients to get them ready for their MTD reporting. Obviously, the benefit to you is you can get a live, up-to-date view of their bookkeeping. So you've got access all the time. You can see exactly how they're getting on. You can assist them along the way, especially if they're new to this type of thing. So you've got that live link. You can also set their access level. So bear in mind, if they haven't really been doing anything themselves and all of a sudden they're going to take on the ability to do their own bookkeeping, then we might want to simplify the software. So we can restrict their access levels to key reports and settings within the software to make sure the software is as simple as it can be. So when your client logs in, we can restrict back the view, and we can make it really simple depending on each client's requirements. We also have transaction lock-in, which is going to be really key, because if your clients start doing their own bookkeeping, those who've used any cloud system will realize how easy they are to use, how you can edit, delete transactions and move things around. So transaction lock-in is really key, and locking things down like your bank reconciliations and VAT returns and year-end will just ensure that when you get the bookkeeping records from the client, the data is as accurate as it possibly can be. So transaction lock-in is going to be a really key for when clients are doing their own bookkeeping. The benefits to your clients is they can benefit from bank feed technology. And again, those of you who use cloud solutions will be aware that this can really speed up the bookkeeping process. It can pull the information through from their online banking. We have matching rule technology, so they can set specific rules within the system to post to various nominal codes or create ledger transactions. And it basically takes away the process of having to type every transaction into cash flow, which basically gives the small business, especially someone who's taking software on board, more time to focus on actually running their business, which is really what they want to be doing. They can use cash flow to create and manage all of their sales and purchase invoices, which can basically help them appear a lot more professional. They can keep track of everything that their customers owe them, how much they owe their suppliers. It will help them with credit control. It will show them what's coming up to be paid, what's gone overdue. We have things like automatic credit control, so they can get these things chased automatically. So, where they might be using Excel and creating invoices using Word templates, we can actually just generate those directly from the system. We can do that from the phone, from an iPad, and they can just be emailed straight to their customers. So it will basically make them more efficient running their own business, which again, because they can do it from anywhere with an internet connection, will give them a bit more time back as well. It can also provide them with reporting, so they can track and report on their business performance, so they can get a better understanding of their business and how they're performing and key things that they might want or need to change. They can manage their VAT, so we manage cash accounting, flat rate, standard VAT schemes, and they can run their VAT returns directly from cash flow to HMRC. And again, when Making Tax Digital goes live, all those reports will be created in Cashflow directly, and either you or the client will be able to submit those directly from the software. So if a client's, happy to do it in their own bookkeeping, they can work on the go using the full interface, which is web responsive, so they can log in and it will just change size, or we do have an app, so they can just log into the Cashflow app from their phone, and at the moment that will give them the ability to quickly create quotes and invoices that can be emailed directly from the app. So that's our kind of group one and where they fit. So we do have a solution which is Cashflow that the client can use to create their bookkeeping, and again we'll come back to you and you can log in and pull that information out. And then we go to group two. So group two are the clients who are willing to manage part of the bookkeeping process. So when identifying your clients, you might find that you've got some that either won't or can't do all of that bookkeeping, but they might be able to do some of it, which would basically save you time processing all of the information. So we've got an app which is Cashflow Go. Your clients can use, like I said, to generate quotes and sales invoices. So if it was just a case of I'm sick and tired of getting all of the invoices from a client, it'd be great if they'd had the ability just to do that, then we could just give them Cashflow Go, and it means we wouldn't have to key on any of their sales invoices. So that's one area that we could use with these clients. We've also got multi-user actually directly in the Cashflow app. So you could set up these particular clients who don't want to do or can't do everything with limited access. So they could log into Cashflow, but for instance on the left-hand side they would only see sales and purchases. So they could key on their ledger transactions, but they wouldn't actually have any access to, say, the banking area or any of the key reports, which basically would leave you to work on the rest of the bookkeeping, getting the information from the client. So we do have that restricted view within the actual Cashflow app itself. Now, if you think that even this limited, amount of work would still be too much for some of your clients, then Iris Snap might be the best solution for you. So this would mean they can just install an app on their phone, and it would have your logo on there. And basically, all they would need to do is basically a camera app. They would just need to take pictures of all of their sales invoices, purchase invoices, and receipts. And then once they've taken the images, then they're sent across to our resourcing team, and our resourcing team will process all of the images for you. So they'll pull out the supplier details, the VAT information, the nominal data, and all of those transactions will just be uploaded to a simple-to-read accountant's dashboard, so you can review everything before they actually get imported directly into Cashflow. So you've got those clients, they can either record them themselves, or if we want to make it simple, then we can just get them at least just to take the pictures of all the paperwork that they normally bring into the office or send in a box. We can say, look, instead of sending that through, just install this app on your phone and take these pictures. And it means you can get the information a lot faster. You can use our resourcing team to process the images, which saves you a lot of time for internal processing. And that information can then be fed straight into their Cashflow account, and again, to produce your bank reconciliations and your bank information and everything like that. So it can really help with that workflow. With MTD coming on as well, bearing in mind that clients won't be able to submit their own Making Tax Digital reporting, they will be reliant on yourselves. So the fact that they do need you, hopefully they'll see how they can work alongside you, and more of them will be willing to use this type of technology. But it also means you've got to make your business more scalable, because you will more than likely get more clients coming on board who want help and need assistance with Making Tax Digital. Now, to make that scalable, are you going to recruit new staff? Can you recruit new staff? Does it warrant another head, a couple more heads on the payroll, or for a small amount of money, just allowing our resourcing team integrated with Cashflow to do a lot of the processing means you can just review the work and then publish it directly to Cashflow, which again will make you more efficient and make some of these jobs a lot more profitable as well. So they're the clients, and you can see the solutions there where we've got things that we can just give clients just to do a bit of the work themselves. And then we go into group 3. Now, these guys are the ones who don't want to be involved. They're really not interested whatsoever, and they want you to basically manage the full bookkeeping service. So you might have these clients already who literally just get a paper statement through the door and just send it directly to you. They give you all of the receipts and everything and just say, there you go, there's the work. And it might be, you'll know these clients, which is why it comes down to when we identify them. You'll know which ones will just say, I don't want to get involved, I've always paid you, you've always done it, I don't particularly want to change, so I want you to carry on. And if that's the case, then the fact when MTD comes in, the fact that you're going to have to, do a bit more work with regards to collating that data and getting it on time and getting the information across HMRC, then, we want to make that a lot more fluid. So if they do fall into the group that way, obviously they're required to do all the internal processing, then we have other solutions which can help. One of those is Rapid Fire. So Rapid Fire is, skip page. Rapid Fire is basically a batch entry tool for processing sales and purchase invoices. So if you weren't looking at using our Snap solution and you just had a pile of sales and purchase invoices in front of you, then it's basically a way you can just key them all in line by line. It looks very similar to a spreadsheet, and then you can work offline, so it's a lot faster, and then you can just sync it into cash flow when you've finished your batch work. So we do have batch entry tool if you're keying in those invoices themselves. If your clients are not going to use Snap and just bring in all of their paperwork, then you can use Snap internally. So if we can't encourage the client to take the image of the receipts themselves, then we can just have a phone in the office. Some of the offices I've talked to have just literally got an office iPhone that they all use just to take all of the images of receipts. So you can just take pictures of all the receipts, or you can scan them, so you can use the scanner in the office, or you can email them directly into the Snap service, and then all of that information can then be reviewed in your own portal and fed straight into cash flow. So the Snap service doesn't necessarily have to be used by your clients if we can't get them to, which would obviously be ideal, but you can use that in the office yourselves and take advantage of that solution. Once that's all in, you can use bank feeds, so you can get your clients, bank information from them and import directly from their online banking. Alternatively, you can use CSV importing. So those clients who always give you a paper copy statement, if we can start getting them around, especially with Making Tax Digital, to say, well, because of these changes, we prefer to get your bank statements in a CSV format rather than a paper format, which means you can just import those directly into cash flow. However, if they say, well, you're just going to have my paper copy, or they might not really go on online banking or know how to download a CSV, then there is technology out there and software like Auto Entry, which will basically extract information from a scanned paper invoice and turn it into a CSV, and then you can import that into cash flow and take up the advantage of using all of the matching rule technology and everything like that that's in cash flow. So the CSV importing is probably going to be quite key for a lot of these smaller clients as well, and we can do all of that. You can then use that information to go and reconcile their bank and VAT, and then again, if you're an IRIS customer and you're using IRIS, then the benefit is that information can just come straight through from cash flow into accounts production, which is going to save you time whether you're doing quarterly management reports or for their final set of accounts. If you need more of a scalable service, and rather than just having a dashboard where you can review all of their receipts and publish them to cash flow themselves, we have a professional service which costs a little bit more money, and not only does it include cash flow and Snap, but basically after the images have been taken, instead of you having to go in, and you can still review it if you want, you've still got a dashboard, but instead of you having to do that, our resourcing team will actually publish them to cash flow as well. You can upload the bank statements for them, so they'll do all the bank reconciliation. So it's a fully managed bookkeeping service. So if you think, well, I can't really afford to get those clients on board, we haven't got enough time, we haven't got resources, but I don't really want to turn these clients away and we need to make this bookkeeping process a lot more fluid, then we do have a team of bookkeepers who've been doing this resourcing services for over 12 years. They're fully skilled and will work alongside you to hit your bookkeeping deadlines. And yeah, they can provide that service for you, and that's all linked into the Snap Professional service. So as you can see, by those three groups and those sets of products we've looked at, by identifying your clients and classifying them into the right group, you can basically see which service we offer will suit your needs, best to ensure you are as efficient as possible. And this is just how that looks, just in a quick graph. So we've got the Cashflow Go app on the left-hand side. So literally they can create invoices, they get published straight into Cashflow. You've got Snap, the Snap service, again, they just take pictures straight into Cashflow. And then you've got your paper bag clients. So if we can't encourage them to use anything else, then we can use our rapid-fire batch entry tool and publish them all straight into Cashflow. Once that information's in, we can pull that out, and using Cashflow Connect, we can basically integrate it with the accountancy suite. So if you're using Iris, we can publish that information directly into accounts production, and this is how we can control all their reports and settings and everything like that. And then added on to these licenses, apart from the Cashflow Basic license, we've got Iris Insight. So you can actually pull all the information that goes into the bookkeeping system and pull it out, and then we can use that for cash flow management. We can see corporation tax due, we can do business planning, and loads of other advisory services just using the bookkeeping software that's already been provided. And again, all of that information just pushes straight into Iris, and we've got this one single solution that's fully integrated. So looking at that and looking at the various roles we've got here with Making Tax Digital. So we can see, obviously, keeping records from the SME. When it goes blue, the more we can get the clients to do, basically, this provides you with a large opportunity to push some of your higher value added and consultancy work. So if you can get the clients to get more involved and do a little bit themselves, then it'll just free up your time internally to just push more and add more value back into that client's business. And we find this more and more and more. We've got more firms taking on Snap and taking on all of these additional resourcing work. They're like, well, we don't really want to get rid of our team of staff because, we're highly skilled. We don't want to get rid of anybody. So what can we do? Well, it's a fact of using those staff to obviously, use their skills to offer more value back into your existing client base, which, will increase retention, which is always key, and also create more business opportunities and attract more clients. So just using the data you have already will help you do that. Iris Insight is fully in the cloud as well, so it's basically cloud-based advisory. If you're using Excel, it can import in Excel, but really the key things are it integrates directly with Cashflow. So the information can come in directly from Cashflow and update all of the numbers automatically. We've also got Xero integration, so if you've got any Xero clients out there, we can also integrate with that. And it can do, like I said, Cashflow, P&L, balance sheet forecasting, performance dashboards, management reporting. We've also got sort of what-if tools in there as well. So if you've got any clients who phone in and say, can I afford to buy this? Can I afford to move premises and my rent's going to go up, or I want to employ a new member of staff and things like that, you can just put these various scenarios in, and it will show you exactly what their current and closing position might be. So it just helps you provide more forward-thinking information to the clients and how you can really help them protect, manage and grow their business, rather than just doing, there's your bookkeeping for your historical months and years, and there's your final set of accounts for last year. We can start adding that value back into the client to then really start thinking of you as their business advisor. And this, like I said, is included in every license apart from the Cashflow Basic license. So that is all I want to show you from a slide perspective. So what I'm going to show you basically those three groups and how they work with software. So if I just close that down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into Cashflow itself. So you've got a link through to Cashflow Connect. Now, you can log in just from any web browser. I've got mine saved as a favorite for Cashflow Connect. If you're using Iris, then you'll see on the left-hand side of your main Iris dashboard, you've got a link through to Cashflow Connect. Once you're in here, literally we log in and we've got access to all of our clients. So if I go to the clients page here, I can see all of my clients and I can create records in here. I can see when they last logged in, so I can see how active my clients are, and I can just log in directly to their account. So if we took our bottom one here, I can click login and I've got access to their full bookkeeping data. We can see we have a branded solution. Those of you, you might have seen Cashflow over the years. So it's something we've been able to do, so you can put your practice logo in there and change all the color scheme. So when your clients log in, it kind of replicates your website. So we would log in from here directly to their data. Your clients will log in from your website. So if you've got clients who maybe are doing everything themselves and fit into that group one, we've got a client area on our website. We can come down. We've got open space logins, and then we've got cloud bookkeeping logins. And the client would just come in, put in their username and password into these various things, and then they would be presented again with your logo. They'd put in their memorable word, log in, and then they would get access to Cashflow as well. Okay, so that's how the client would log in to do their bookkeeping. Like I said, it's all web responsive, so depending on the system they were using, we can just shrink the screen down. So if that was an iPad view, you can see it just drops out the menu, and I can just drop it back in again, and I can actually do full functionality from any device. And again, if it was a phone, it'd just be slightly smaller on there. So we've got everything we need on there, and if I just go full screen again, it just pops out the menu again. Now, when the client's logged out and finished doing their bookkeeping, we can just log out, and we can log out directly to their website. So basically, you can put any links or anywhere you want your clients to go to. You can just click that in there, and they'll log out to it. So it's a nice little integration directly into your website, which basically improves the relationship you have with your clients. Instead of thinking, well, I've got to push this product directly out to my client, you can just say, well, it's our service, just log in from our website, they'll log out to your website, and they've just got a familiar view of everything from there. Like I said, when we're in Cashflow Connect, the key thing for each individual client is setting their access levels. So if we click the Details tab next to a particular client and go into Actions, this is where we can set their access rights to reports and settings. So I can come into here and see this particular client can see and do everything. I can just untick, so they don't need a CIS report, they don't do EC sales, I don't want them to go and run their year end or do their own VAT return. So I can untick the reports that I don't want my client to see. Just means when you log in from Cashflow Connect, you can see everything, but when your client logs into the website, they have a restricted view. And we can also do that from a settings point of view. So I can see here, I've taken away referrals and managed subscription. I could take out delete data, which is always a nice one that I like to take out. Take out the chart of accounts, so they can't add in new nominal codes and things like that. You could take away their VAT settings, so they can't change their VAT scheme and things like that. So it basically gives you a lot more control of what your client can see and do once they log in. And then we've got, like I said, transaction locking. So we can come in here and do a VAT submission lock and take away the client override, which basically means if they try to edit or delete a VAT reconciled transaction, it will pop up with an error message, and it will basically say you can't do this, contact your accountant, and then be forced to contact you. Okay, so really, really simple. And then we can do a full lock. So if you do a year-ending cash flow, it does do this lock automatically. But if you take away the client override, it just means if you've done the year-end, they won't be able to delete or edit or post anything into that prior period. So we have Cashflow Connect is really a control mechanism where you can set access rights for all of your individual clients. You can create an account and invite clients to try the system directly from here. If you're an Iris customer, we have a simplified way to set up new Cashflow clients. So if we go to just view a client record, for those of you using Open Space, you might be familiar with this tab anyway, because this is where we'd set up Open Space integration. But I've got Cashflow client in here. If I click the magnifying glass, I can just create a new Cashflow client, and then I can choose the chart of accounts. So we've got Iris Limited Company, Iris Sole Trader, and it will just whiz away and create an account using all of their address details, contact details, email addresses that you've already got stored within your Iris platform to quickly create a cash flow bookkeeping account in Cashflow Connect. So we've got that fully integrated, and that will just create a new client in your list using your Iris details. So just a couple of features that I'll show you from Cashflow itself. So we talked about the banking. It says if a client's using the software themselves, I've got a lot of banks in here and I've got a lot of things going on, but again, we can kind of simplify it. If a client's using it, at least they can log in and see their VAT liability, so I can come in and see exactly what my VAT liability is for this current period. We can go through and have a look at all of our customers. I can see how much business I've done with them. I can see how much they owe me. Every customer and supplier has their own record, so it just gives me a lot more peace of mind of running my business. I can come in and I've got all their details. I can go into invoices. I can see everything that's unpaid. I can see everything that they've paid. I can see everything that's overdue. We can drill into overdue invoices and we can send across reminder letters, so it'll assist them with credit control and things like that. So it's really, really easy to do. If they're creating invoices in the system, then they have the ability to print and email them. So if we email out an invoice, they can put their own business branding on them, so they can put their own logo in there, and they can put all their various things. So we've got fully customized with invoice templates to make them appear, obviously, professional-looking company. They're sending out emailed invoices and things like that. We've also got additional things if a client wanted to use them, like online payments. So if a client emailed this out, we can click on the Pay Online button, and that will just take me through to a WorldPay portal where my customer could just go and make a payment directly against the invoice, and then I'd receive an email notification just letting me know that that's actually been paid. Okay, so we have all of that within here. We could just take a card payment directly from the software if we wanted to, just by clicking in card payment, and then I can just type in the card details in there and take a payment directly from the software. So we have that sort of technology, and when we show clients the sort of thing they could do with the software, especially those who are using Excel, they're the type of features that they generally like and are attracted to. So full sort of sales ledger side of it, full purchase ledger. So again, the same for suppliers and purchases. They're all listed on here. I can see what I need to pay my suppliers and things like that. If I go into the bank area, so one of the benefits is, I can import from the bank feed. So if I just click import, I can just choose a date range that I want to import from, and then hit retrieve transactions, and that will whiz away and pull those transactions directly in. So we can see here on the left-hand side is my bank statement, and on the right-hand side is where it's posting it to. So I've got set rules in the system to say when it sees keywords on the bank statement, basically what I want to do with them. So I've got rent, going to rent, and every time it sees cash flow, it's posting to materials. We can change those rules and we can add them in for the full bank statement, which basically means if a client's using the system and they want to speed up that process to make their business more efficient, they haven't got to spend loads of time doing bookkeeping. And we can just match, so we have a matching column in there, and we can assign payments to invoices, or we can split payments. We can do whatever we need to from there. And we have the same, if I go into interest received on there, I haven't got a matching rule for that, so I just want to post a new bank transaction to interest received, and I can just type that in there, and then select the VAT rate, and then create, and that's going to create that transaction. And when I'm happy with all my work, I just hit import now. That whizzes away and imports those transactions into the bank. So if we go and have a look at the bank for 2014, we'll now see that all of those transactions are in, and all the payments have been made against the relevant invoices as well. And we have a simplified reconciliation process to reconcile that. Then if a client's using it, we can go in and you've got all their age debtors, age creditors report, everything like that. I've got my P&L, so again, we can customize these reports. You can put logos on them and change the various columns and things like that. Those can be printed as PDFs, and we can change all the date range and everything like that. So there's a whole host of reports they can do. And again, if we go to tax, they'll be able to go and do their own VAT management, where all of their VAT returns will be listed, and they can just go and create a new VAT report and submit that directly to the revenue. And like I said, this is what the software looks like now, but obviously when MTD comes into effect, then they will be able to submit those those reports directly as well. So from a Group 1 point of view, if a client was using it, that's the sort of thing they'd be able to do with cash flow. It does full double entry bookkeeping, everything that you would expect it to do. So if we move across now and we have a look at our Group 2, so everything you've seen there would be something that you can do internally as well. So you can use cash flow on behalf of a client, but it might be a case of you want them just to create their own sales invoices or purchase invoices and things like that. So if we go to settings within here, we've got our additional users. So if I go into additional users and create a new client, I can just put my customer's name, give them a username, and type in their email address, and then I can pick the sort of level of access that I want them to have. So I could give them standard access, so they can do everything, but I want to restrict it back a bit. So if I give them a manager role, it means they can run the sales and purchase ledger. So they've got full access to everything, but they don't see the bank. And then we've got a sales ledger, so they can just see customers' quotes and invoices. Purchase ledger, so they can just key on all their receipts, suppliers and receipts. And our basic will give them access just to customers' invoices, purchases, and suppliers, so they could just do both sides of the ledgers and nothing else. So you can restrict back from the user exactly what they do, and again, with the restriction of settings and reports, we can just make the software as simple as we need to. So that's one way of doing it for those clients, just restricting it back. So we want them to do a little bit. So that's one way we could do it, it's just through cash flow. The other way we could do it is getting them to use the various apps. So if I just go on and just my phone, okay, 1 second, just wake up my phone a little bit, so I turn that on. Here we go, right. So this is my phone and the various apps that we've got. So I've got a Cashflow Go app just on the bottom right here. So if I click into our Cashflow Go app, this would mean if I just wanted my clients not to go into the full interface, I think, well, it might be a bit too much for them, but I want them to put on their sales invoices. This is the app they would use. We've literally just put in our fingerprint recognition. So if actually my phone recognises my fingerprint, there we go. So that would log in then, and I can see sort of a financial overview, and I can see a sales overview of what's open, and I can look at that for the last 7 days, last 30 days, etc. So I can do that from there. If I hit the plus sign, I can create a quote, an invoice, or create a new customer. If you click on the little menu bar at the top, they can just see a list of customers, so they can see all of those, they can see how much business they've done and things like that. If we go into invoices, they can see all of their invoices in here. And again, if we click edit, they can sort of make amendments if they need to. They can sort by ascending, descending, issue date, and things like that. So they can customize it, and then they can click into invoices from here, and then they've got the option to email and print them and things like that. So the app itself, like I said, it does quotes and invoices, but you can see because it's an app rather than the interface, it just makes it a lot easier for them to manage. And then we come across to Snap. So if you're asking your clients not to send you receipts and just record them themselves, then they would just have this app on their phone. So they would log in. Again, they would see your brand over this app as well. And literally, all you need to do is just click the upload button and select the camera. So once the camera has been selected, all you would need to do is just to go and take the images of the receipts. So I do is take the images there, and then once you've done that, you click the upload button, and you would see the images there, and then I can just upload them. So those images have now been uploaded to the Snap service. As you can say, it doesn't take too long. So if I was doing that internally, I could just have all of those laid out, just take pictures of them and upload them. But from a client's point of view, because they haven't got access to cash flow and this is all you've asked them to do, once their receipts have been processed, they will have a little report section in the app which will actually show them all of the nominal codes that their receipts have been broken out into. So if they ever need to see or want just to see what's happened, they can just open that out and they can see the dates of those receipts, the values on them, and they can actually click in and see the original images as well. So they will have a little app that they can drill into and actually see that data, even though they can't change anything, do anything, or necessarily be involved in the bookkeeping, but they can take the images and record it. So from a client's point of view and from your point of view, that's literally all we need to do, is just take pictures of those images. And basically what that will do, once that's done, is you will have an interface. So as the accountant, you will have a email address and password, so username and password to log in. You would log in to your Snap interface. Again, you know, we can see your logo from here. We can just click into a client. So here I can see all my clients who are using it. I can see how many images they've taken. And in here I can see what our resourcing team are working on, anything that's yet to process, i.e. the 2 images there I can click into are the 2 images I just took. So obviously our resourcing team haven't got hold of them yet, so that they haven't started work. But once they do start work on those jobs, you'll see that that actually switches to work in progress, so I know what they're working on. I can see what's completed, how many have been published into cash flow, what's ready to go, any queries, and you can archive receipts as well. So if I click into Always IT, we can click in here, and if I scroll down, I can see all of their receipts. So I can see 4 are ready to go. 2 have got information required, so I can click into the information required, and in here I can see that basically the client's taken the picture, the resourcing team have created the supplier and put the invoice receipt details in here and the nominal code they've been posted into. I can edit these, so I can choose whether I want a supplier invoice or just a bank transaction posted directly against the nominal code, and then if I scroll down, I can just select the bank account that the payment went out of, how it was paid. So I can change all of these details. So this is where it goes from, some of you out there might be using something like Receipt Bank, where if the end user is using it, they can have their own dashboard and they can go and change these details and then publish them to their cloud bookkeeping system. But Snap is really designed for you only, so the client wouldn't have any involvement in this. So all they would do is take the pictures, and then you can come in here and control where the data goes. You can post messages, so if you want to give any feedback to the resourcing team, like this transaction was posted to the wrong nominal code, when you see the supplier again, I want you to post it here. We work with you, so we learn how you want things, and then just make sure that that service moving forward is correct and quick as possible. And then if we go to ready to publish, I can see 4 of those are ready to go. So once I'm happy with those, I can just highlight them all, and then we can just publish them to cash flow. So I'll just click OK, publish those, and now they're now published to cash flow. So we can now see 7 have been published, and information is still 2, which updates the dashboard. And once they're published into cash flow, if we come back into our cash flow account and go to our suppliers, if I scroll down, we've now got Tesco in there, and Sainsbury's were entered as well. So we can click into the supplier, and then we can go and see those purchase invoices have been updated in there as well, status set to paid. Okay, so it's really easy from just the client taking the images to actually you just reviewing it and publishing it directly to their cash flow account. So that's really group 2. So if they don't want to be involved, there is a way there. The other way is through rapid fire. So this is our batch entry tool. So if you were doing all of the work for the client, the tools you would use are exactly the same as I've shown you for group 2, apart from you would be taking the images in the office for them. So here we would just come and select the client you want to work on. We can choose batch invoice or batch receipt at the bottom, and again it will bring through their sales ledger, and if I scroll across it will bring through all of their sort of sales codes and everything like that, and we can go change values, change VAT rates, and then we can just F6 and it just copies the above line. So I can quickly go in and key invoices, and we can change dates and change customer codes, supplier codes and things like that. And then once we've done all of their sales invoices, we can save them as a batch and then go to batch receipt, and it will bring through all of their suppliers, and then we can go and put on all of their supplier invoices, and it will bring across all of their purchase codes and everything like that. So really, really easy to put on sort of batch work and again, you can just F6 and copy the line. And then if I hit save, when you're ready, you just go to review, highlight your batch work, and then submit it, and then publish that directly to Cashflow. So we do have a way of working online to enter batch data, and then as soon as you've done that, that will just publish directly into their Cashflow account really quickly, so those invoices are now live. So it's a really, really easy way of getting invoices and purchase invoices directly into Cashflow. And then if we go to the bank area, if your client's using bank feeds because they're using the software, but you're getting CSV statements because that's what the clients are now giving you, if you go into the bank, we've got the option to just import, but instead of importing a bank feed, you can now see I can select the file. So all I would do is select the file, go and choose the bank statement. Oh, let me just go back to that again. If I go to the bank transactions here, upload, that would just whiz away. It uses the same technology and matching rules as your bank feed would use, but you don't have to worry about it getting your client's bank feed information. It will just go and upload that CSV. I probably should have used a smaller bank statement because that's all loading in the background, so I will come back to that. And obviously the benefit of all of these packages is if you're an Iris customer, then you can just pull that information directly into accounts production. So you would go and do a new posting the way you normally would, put in your posting dates, and if I just click OK. And then in Iris, we've got a document type. So we've got a document type in here for Cashflow. We can then activate the import for Cashflow, click OK. That will just whiz away in the background. We can then do management period movements if we're doing quarterly reporting, or if you just want to do their annual TB. Click OK. We can then import with or without opening balances, depending on where they're stored. And then we just click OK. And here we can review it. So on the left, you can see the cash flow nominal, and then we can see the Iris code it's posted to. I can review the postings. I've got one there for director salaries, which is marked with a red box because I can't import it until I tell it where it needs to go. So I'd say it's for that director. Click import, and that will just whiz away and import the trial balance for me. So if you're using cash flow, that information will just come straight through, and there's our trial balance. Okay, so we have a really simple import process from Cashflow directly into Iris. And then if you ever want to know what makes up a nominal code, or if there's a mistake or you need to make a change, you can just double-click on the code from Accounts Production, and that will actually drill back through to the nominal ledger in Cashflow itself. And then if you needed to make a change, you could reassign transactions from there, post a journal. We have full access to the bookkeeping system. So that's our level of integration that we have with Cashflow and Accounts Production. And if we go back, we can now see that bank statement has been uploaded, and you can see those matching rules have taken effect. So really from Group 1, Group 2 to Group 3, you can see that we have solutions across everything, basically depending on the client's requirements and the level of involvement that each client is going to have. So if I just come back in here, that's pretty much all of the pages we were going to have a look at. So if you've got any questions, functionality questions or anything like that on anything you've seen today, please do ping me an email. It's not the shortest email address. Those of you who've come on here before might already have it stored. But alex.jennings-temple@iris.co.uk. Like I said, if you've got any functionality questions, let me know. If you're looking for pricing on anything, then once this webinar has ended, you will be presented with a feedback page. So if you want one of the digital team to get in touch to discuss anything you've seen today or any sort of pricing plans or anything like that, then just fill it in the form or someone will get in touch. And I hope you found that demonstration very useful today. Like I said, any questions, please do fire them across. Thank you very much for your time.